Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. It meant just no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion to imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine there's no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. Brother of a man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world would be as one. And the world would be as one.
Good morning, Yaron.
Good morning. How are you, Keith?
Good morning, Yaron. Thank you for singing that beautiful John Lennon song.
Oh, you're welcome. It
Um,
was fun.
yeah, it sounds great, and it was the backdrop that you have adds such an element to that of our ability to imagine, both in the literal sense, but also the dream aspect of it. So thank you. Those lyrics are so touching, certainly for me, and I know for many people, and obviously for you. And they're such a great instruction and invitation for each of us to decide how we want to show up and live in the world. What we'll bring forward. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yaron Spiwak, our music director here at the Center for Spiritual Living. You'll be hearing more from him later in our service. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox. I'm the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And I welcome you on behalf of our board of trustees and our members and our practitioners and all elements, our music team here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. I welcome you into our Sunday morning celebration service. If you're joining us through Facebook Live or later on our YouTube channel, a big hello and shout out to you, and trust in knowing that you're enjoying this time that you'll spend with us this morning on this Sunday morning. And if you're joining us through Zoom, a big hello to the CSL-LA community. I'm excited for this morning because I have some multimedia that's new for us, and we're going to dive right into that this morning because We haven't done that in a while, and I think it'll be a lot of fun today to look at it from that perspective. So, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, hello to our CSL-LA community. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, spring has sprung. And I'm sure that in your world, wherever you may be, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're feeling that to some degree, both from the elements of the renewal of what is bursting forth onto our planet and all of the joy of that, and feeling the energy of people that are back out and about, not only just because of spring, but feeling more safe to move so in the world because of vaccinations from this pandemic, as well as if you're like me, you're lovingly feeling the effects of all the pollen in the air. But today is an opportunity for us to come together as a respite from the external and focus on this community of each other, this community as we commune together, and the opportunity to honor the power of the divine that exists within each and every one of us. Each Sunday morning, we begin our service by taking a moment to anchor ourselves into the awareness of the divine that exists, by placing our hands together in prayer position, honoring that Sanskrit tradition of namaste, meaning that as I put my hands together in my heart and bow forward, the divine, the power, the source, the life in me honors and acknowledges that within you. So I invite you all, wherever you may be in this moment, unless you're moving down the highway in a vehicle with your hands on the wheel, to take a moment and place your hands in prayer position, taking a deep breath in as we inhale and exhale and bow forward and say out loud, the divine, the source, life in me honors and acknowledges and appreciates that which is within you. The Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We're a community whereby we welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origin, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities, for we stand with you, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, hands in prayer together, hands in prayer. For you, as a complete expression of the divine, are safe here with us as the community as we all navigate this thing called life. Our beloved founding minister, Reverend Dr. David Walker, on Sunday mornings when we would gather in the facilities that we did over the years, would stand before us as we would say welcome to everyone and a big hello to all, that we welcome one and we welcome all. So I invite you to affirm that with me together. We, as a community, welcome one and we welcome all. Well, who are the we that I speak of? Well, we're known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We've been here in the Los Angeles for over 30 years, formerly known as the Los Angeles Church of Religious Science. We're a community that practices metaphysics, specifically the teachings of the science of mind, which is a new thought philosophy, meaning that we're drawn into this universe, expressing the divine as we are, through our minds, our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, and our interactions with life itself, all focused on developing our consciousness. In other words, having a new thought and understanding that there's only one power that exists in the universe. Matters not what you call it. You'll hear me refer to it as God, Source, the thing itself, the divine, you and me. And that as we consciously align ourselves with our divine nature, because we're imbued with the qualities of this power, which are peace and power, enjoy light, life, love, and wisdom, then we have the opportunity to use our power in a way to make a difference. The vision statement for our community for many years was making a difference. And so we're here today to not only make a difference in our own lives, but by sharing, whether it's through the intention and purposefully and outwardly, the energy that we hold on to and express and honor within us as a divine being out into the universe, or whether that's just simply the ripple effect of us owning who we are. It's that happens because we're consciously awakening to living our current vision statement of supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment on this journey of finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so today, I invite you to hear something anew, to align yourself with that power that exists within you, to do a self-inventory of where you're at on the journey of finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, and make a covenant and a commitment to yourself to make a difference on this planet. It's a joy to be with you today, and I look forward to what is transpiring. Each and every Sunday morning, we begin our service with a ritual called calling in the light. And today is no different. And so I invite you to get centered and anchored into your physical space, wherever that may be, as we begin this ritual of calling in the light. And to take a moment and focus on the flickering flame of the orb that's on the screen. Allowing ourselves to be transfixed by the light. Remembering that the very thing that we see on the screen, the light of life, exists within you and exists within me. The light, calling in the light, the ritual. Today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine, as we continue to focus on the light in the orb. As we feel the vibrations shift during this experience of calling in the light, may we become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life, which includes you and it includes me. Our affirmative prayer, in its non-traditional sense, that I have for us this morning is a Buddhist prayer from Shantideva of the 8th century. And it reads as follows. Compassion is the supreme elixir that overcomes the rule of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is the tree that shelters all beings, wandering and tired on the path of existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy lives. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing thinking. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. May compassion arise in whom it has not arisen. May it never decline where it has arisen, but go on increasing further and further and further. To live with compassion for me means to live with passing on further and further the I am to the world. It's been said that two of the greatest words in the world are I am, but that those that are most powerful are what follows those two words. And so I affirm with you that we affirm together as we say, I am compassion. I am compassion. For I am compassion. Yaron will take us through the next element of our ritual of calling in the light. The response part of this call and response is on the screen, and it gives us the opportunity to further completing those two words of I am. Yaron? And so it is. Thank you, Yaron. I love your new rendition of Calling
Thank
in
you.
the Light.
Changing
Very
it up a little bit,
upbeat.
right?
Say what?
Changing it up a little bit every
I
once in a while.
know. If you noticed, I've changed up our slides too. So it's
I do.
time to refresh, restore, and renew. As you'll hear more about that later today. Thank you, Yaron.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And so I know that you love and adore this individual that we're bringing on the screen now, our guest musician today. He's giving you air kisses there, Arnae. We have with us today someone that we love so deeply and compassionately and respectfully, who just brings such a gift of life to life itself, but certainly here when you bring your heart to the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Welcome, Arnae.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here. It's spring, everybody.
I know. Well, we're so excited to have you here, and I know you've been working diligently on your musical selection and presentation today.
Yes, I've got Travis to thank, and actually, you, Reverend Keith, and the center for inspiring me to upgrade. It's a new day, it's a new season, new equipment.
I
So
love
we're
it.
going to give it
So
a try.
tell us the title of your song that you're singing.
Sure. The song is called Reveal It to Heal It. I wrote it back in 2018, um, moving through a period, and it helped to inspire and heal. And I'm sending it out to all those who may be in
Oh,
need.
well, I love it. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Everyone, let's take a breath together. Mm. Let's close our eyes, please. Somebody hurt your feelings. Somebody hurt your pride. Somebody disappointed you. And somebody fed you lies. Our hardest lessons are our greatest blessings. Love is your grace. Surrender is your way. Reveal it to heal it. Let go of useless pride. There's no more need to hide. Reveal it to heal it. You gotta go through it. You gotta grow to it. And with love as your guide, you'll get to the other side. Yes. Ooh, how could I let that thing? How could I let it happen to me? Why didn't I just ask for help? I said it to me. I said it's my fault. I'm not worthy. I must have deserved this. And I said, and I'm so ashamed of myself. Oh, our hardest lessons are our greatest blessings. Love elevates. Surrender is your way. Reveal it to heal it. Let go of useless pride. There's no more need to hide. Reveal it to heal it. You gotta go through it. You gotta grow to it. And with love as your guide, you'll get to the other side. Oh, I know somebody out there know what I'm talking about. Woo! This helped me It helped me come through a long way. I had to remember that I could heal my heart with love. I could heal my hurt with love. I could heal my pain with love. And I could heal my shame with love. 'Cause love guides us. Yes, it does. Love unites us. I like that. Love moves us. And love improves us. Love defines us. Love reminds us. Love aligns us. Oh, and love supplies, love supplies, love supplies. You can heal your heart with love. You can heal all your hurt with love. You can heal all your pain, heal all your pain, heal all your shame. Just reveal it to heal it. Let go. Use less pride. You ain't got no reason to hide. Reveal it to heal it. You gotta be willing to go through it, whatever it takes, in order to grow to it. And with love as your guide, I promise you will get to the other side.
Yes. Take us to church, sister.
Might as well, it's Sunday.
It's Sunday. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Just an exquisite presentation rendition of it. I love the lyrics, which weave through exactly what Ernest Holmes tells us, that healing is revealing. And we have to surrender to that. And then the components of letting love guide the way, meaning love, not that esoteric human thing, but the self-givingness of spirit. Yes, wonderful. Well, you surrendered to that in the song, and the comments in the chat window are speaking of how deeply touched they are by that. So thank you. And your new equipment's fabulous, sister.
All right. Thank you so
So
much. And let's everybody give a shout out to Travis. Travis helped us
Travis,
along the way. Thank you so much.
Travis is the man. Well, thank you so much. I know you have another beautiful song for us after my message, and just a huge thank you. We love, love, love having you here. So, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So they're giving her all kinds of props there on the chat window, because Arnae is just the best, and I love her, and I've have a long, rich history with that beloved being of light, and it only gets better day by day by day. And so we're going to move into the message that I have for this morning, and it's been a while, as I said earlier, that we've gone all multimedia on Sunday morning, but today is the day, and I'm excited to share this message with you today, both visually and audibly. So let it begin. And so today is Sunday, April 11th in the year 2021. I invite you to take a moment and just feel the energy of the journey that you've been on since the second Sunday in April in the year 2020. Just this morning, Arnae and I were batting back and forth about a check that she had found that we had issued to her in December of 2019, and it had gotten lost in the shuffle of stuff, and we'll work out the details of that. But when she sent me the photograph, and I thought, 2019, that seems like lifetimes ago. So let's all just take a moment and feel the energy of what has been required to get us to this very moment. And know together that we are here to move through a process of healing. Sometimes that's physical, but certainly an emotional healing of revealing who we know ourselves to be. So I'm going to begin this morning with a couple of questions for you. And the first one is this: are you tired, run down, listless? Do you poop out at parties? Are you unpopular? Well, the answer to all your questions is in this biddle-loddle. And I'm sure we're all familiar with this as part of a scene from the I Love Lucy show or the Lucy show. I may have that wrong, so I'm sure I'll get corrections out there. Of the commercial she was doing for Vita Mita Vegemin. Spoon your way to health. And it's tasty too. And I love starting this morning with looking at that because I know that we all, during certainly this last journey and oftentimes journey at life, look to the outside source for health, for revealing that need for healing. But as Ernest Holmes tells us, as we just spoke about, Arnae and I, that healing is an inside job. It's not an outside job. And so the bottle of Vita Mita Vegemin is not something that's going to cure that all on its own, nor is the bottle of the Coca-Cola that's on the screen, or the bottles of the whiskey that are on the screen. And God knows, let me tell you, I love good whiskey, but nor is the bottle of pills that we see on the screen. I want to be really clear when I speak of these bottles as practicing metaphysicians, students of New Thought. We are not telling you don't take medicine. We're not telling you to not enjoy Coca-Cola. We're not even telling you to not enjoy whiskey as long as it serves you for your best and highest. We are not Christian scientists, we're religious scientists. And what we know from that process is the same intelligence that created life itself is the same intelligence that created the medicine that we get to use in life to be a component of the physical healing that we have in life. But as conscious, awake metaphysicians, we also know that healing is an inside job, and it's one that's a result of how we choose to renew, to refresh, and to restore our mind. The theme, as I just stated, for the month of April in 2021 is just this: renew, refresh, restore. And so when one goes online, like I did, to the Merriam-Webster dictionary to look up renew, refresh, restore, what is the meaning? Well, it tells us that renew, restore, refresh, renovate, rejuvenate means to make like new. Renew implies a restoration of what had become faded or disintegrated so that it seems like new. And so today I invite you to open yourself up, to be willing to take a look at what in your mind, your heart, your soul, your approach to life that may have become faded a bit, that may have disintegrated so that when you re-look at it through the act of renewal, through the act of being refreshed and restoration, that what is then revealed, as Arnae sang about just a moment ago, is that which seems like new, but what actually is taking place is we're garnering and gaining a new perspective on the thing that already is. Now, we've been on quite a journey, and just last week, we went through the act of resurrection, which could only take place through the act of crucifixion. Now, if you saw the service last week, you know that I'm not necessarily speaking of the literal act of crucifixion for resurrection, but I am speaking of that act of going through the dying and the death intentionally of that which was, so that we may move into an awakening to that which can be. But that journey of both crucifixion and resurrection is one which is exhausting. It's one where we go on the journey of getting to what we believe is going to be the new destination and then potentially hit a roadblock. Just like we see the fish in the bags that have escaped the imprisonment of living in a pet store, readying themselves to move to higher ground to then meet an obstacle. And so today I want us to take a look at what may that obstacle be in our life that is preventing us from living the objective of the resurrection, which is to live the Christ consciousness from the inside out, to allow the emergence of the pure self that is within to be prevalent and present in our everyday life. In the book, The Science of Mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes defines the Christ as this: the Christ is the Word of God manifest in and through the human. In a liberal sense, the Christ means the entire manifestation of the divine and is therefore the second person of the Trinity. In other words, it is that I am. The Christ is the universal idea. and each one puts on their Christ or lets their Christ out to play to the degree that they surrender a limited sense of life to the divine realization of wholeness and unity with good, spirit, and God or the divine. And so let's remember that on this journey, this is our objective as we have now made this covenant and commitment through the act of resurrection to allow the Christ consciousness within us to be made present and part of our everyday life. Let's also remember that in the month of March, our theme was planting seeds, harvesting good. And to remember that for us to plant that seed, which ultimately became the crucifixion and the resurrection, part of that process is then harvesting good. Good being that emergence of the awakening of the Christ that exists within you and within me. Not speaking of the man Jesus that the stories are written about in the Bible, not letting him be the exception, but the example for how you and I can live life from the perspective that miracles, as written about in the bibliography, the biblios, the library of books called the Bible, but that you and I can live from this perspective where everything that we attract into our world, that we make manifest through that healing of revealing the Christ within us, appears as if it's a miracle, because it appears as that which almost seems impossible to have been revealed. But yet you and I, as we continue to stay on this journey of planting our seeds, remembering that inherent within the seed of intention is the fulfillment of its desire, and that it takes at least 10 days for that seed to germinate, that you and I are continually on this journey of tuning in to the Christ that is within, and then let it reveal itself through us, through our actions, our reactions, our interactions, and life itself. And so let's not forget that there is a journey that takes place and is required on this journey of awakening to the Christ within. Last week, I just began teaching an 8-week class series called The Journey of Awakening, where we go deeper into looking at this meeting, this intersection of our divinity and our humanity. And I invite you to come and take part in that class on Wednesday nights at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time online. It's a great opportunity to learn more about this process of awakening in life itself. But for you and I today to recommit to this process through the act of renewal, that yes, we are now resurrected to allow the Christ out, but to know that that is not a destination. It's an ongoing awakening that is required within you and within me as our consciousness evolves into a higher framework, thereby bringing into our world experiences that reflect that framework, and sometimes even those that seem contradictory to our evolution. I love this quote from Romans, which is, "Do not and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." What we're being told here is once we move through this act of resurrection, to not move into a state of sleeplessness, sleep really, and go back to the way life was. To not conform to what was, but to be transformed by the renewal of our mind, and to be a conscious co-creator in the experiences that we desire to have in life. There was a phrase of this Bible quote that was in my daily text today, which is, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." My invitation in that moment was this: today, let's remember our life experience as a reflection of consciousness. So let's engage in a renewal that reflects our divine nature of peace, power, beauty, joy, life, light, love, and wisdom. When you and I decide to live by this renewing of our mind, it can simply be done by the act of focusing on these qualities of peace and power and beauty and joy and life, light, love, and wisdom. That today is the day for us to let our soul be restored. And that happens by letting the lover of your soul restore it. Now, I'm taking a bit of liberty with the aspect of our soul needing renewing, because in metaphysics, we don't believe that our soul needs renewing. that it is perfect, whole, and complete just as it is. However, the reason I'm taking the license today is because I want to use it as a catalyst for you and I to remember, for us to use our soul and to allow that to emerge in a way that serves us. It is incumbent upon us to constantly be tending to our awareness of the thing itself. And that it's not our responsibility solely to tend to our soul, but to surrender to that power that is within us, that power that is the lover, that power that expresses the love, that power which is the self-givingness of spirit, whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself, and the only way it can do it is through you and through me, means that you and I must surrender to that power itself of love that's constantly renewing itself through us, and it is through that act restoration will happen. Then what is ours to do? Alice Walker, the great author, says, well, what ours to do is to know this. Whenever you're creating beauty around you, you are restoring your soul. And so you and I are called to not only create beauty, but to be beauty. Beauty as one of the qualities of the divine. And then to know as we're doing that, we are magnifying and manifesting more and more of the very thing that we're owning to be. And to remember that the objective on this entire journey of our awakening is good living. For good living is the goal. Well, what do I mean by good? Seems very judgmental, right? No, I'm looking at good as a synonym for God. To remember this thing that we hear all the time and to not let it become some catchphrase that the Judeo-Christian world uses that we repel, but to hear it from a place of renewal today, understanding at a higher level than ever before what the power of God is, that God is good and good is God. And that is the goal of life. To live in this state of soul restoration, of being engaged in this process, but also to then have faith. To have faith that there are moments that just as we plant the seed of the intention of letting our Christ out to play in a new way, that seed takes 10 days at a minimum to germinate. And as a result of that, you and I need to give space for those seeds of good that we plant to be made manifest. And so soul restoration not only takes the energy of being attended to, but also to move into a state of slumber. It is through that state of slumber that we renew, we refresh, and restore. But to not go to sleep and to stay there, to then wake up, and to wake up from any spiritual slumber that we've been in during that time of co-creation, or that we may have been in during this time of the pandemic, of feeling woe is me, of feeling that I don't have a role to play in the co-creation of the external in my life, or feeling that we're a victim of the circumstances of the events of life itself. But unless you and I choose today to wake up and to no longer stay in that state of what was, to re-engage in this act of the resurrection from the crucifixion of the old ideas and choose anew today to consciously be a co-participant in the transformation that is taking place in our physical world, which is a result of our internal mental and emotional world, and live by the renewing of our mind day by day, thought by thought, action by action, reaction by reaction, and interaction by interaction. To be the catalyst ourselves for this awakening, and to not sit back like Sleeping Beauty did, waiting for her Prince Charming to come, to choose to be both Sleeping Beauty and Prince Charming, and to take a step forward into awakening ourselves to an awareness of who we are as a divine being. It tells us on the screen that if an egg is broken by an outside force, life ends. If it's broken by an inside force, life begins. Great things always begin from inside. And so on this journey of awakening that you and I are on, what's happening for us and through us is that we're coming into an existence of an awareness of who we are as a divine being. And so today is that day for you and I to wake up and to realize that on this journey, change is imminent. The caterpillar looks at the butterfly and says, over a cocktail, "You've changed." "We're supposed to," the butterfly responds, letting us be reminded that life indeed is a journey filled with lessons, hardships, heartaches, joys, celebrations, special moments, all that will ultimately lead us to our destination, our purpose in life, which is to change, to evolve, to live in a state of metamorphosis. It goes on to say that the road, this journey, will not always be smooth. In fact, throughout our travels, we will encounter many challenges, but also we'll encounter many rewards. And so today, I encourage you to commit and to make a covenant that we begin right now to step into this metamorphosis, this transformation, this evolution through the renewal of our mind of knowing who we are, through the I am that I am, that I am, that I am peace and power. I am light and love. I am compassion and beauty and wisdom. I am restored. I am refreshed. I am renewed. I am one who chooses to live from the way in and then out. Dr. Carol Carnes talks about this in her writing in the book The Way In on the concept of transformation. She says, have you ever wondered whether the caterpillar feels the presence of the butterfly in herself? Does she yearn to be more, to lift up, to transform? Is there an inner push to let go of one reality and enter another? Is the transformation mechanism inherent in us as well? If so, what triggers it? What causes us to begin the journey out of limitation and into greater awareness? She goes on to tell us perhaps it's the sense of outgrowing our own skin, the inner knowing that we've completed a phase of our life, and a feeling of being too big for our surroundings. I wonder, she writes, if the bud has that experience right before it bursts into full bloom. We can see the process of one thing becoming another version of itself everywhere in nature. Then why would we be excluded from the plan? We are born with transformation already in motion. For many years, physical change shifts our experience of the world. We learn to walk and to run and to talk and to express, giving us more freedom. But then we discover our will and choice and our own ability to change our environment. There is also a point at which we stop and look within and ask, who am I really? This is the call that elicits a response from our source. The call, who am I really? We've said yes to transformation, but there's so much more to us than the life we've been living. We may find ourselves drawn to spirituality and meditation or the traditions of other cultures. We are following the inner path, and we can be sure there is a new reality awaiting us. This time, it is the transformation of our mind that is calling us to be renewed, to see life from a new vantage point, to awaken our senses to the truth that what we've been chasing in the world has been present right here all the time. For love, joy, peace, and vitality have propelled us forward our entire lives. We've been supplied and supported from within. We realize in this moment, today, that Source has always been our silent partner. Knowing this renewing truth, we begin to fly. So today is the day that we get to ask ourselves, who am I really? And to remember that this is the call that elicits a response from our source, the divine God. For we've said yes to transformation, and we know for there is so much more to us than the life we've been living. Because by nature, we're here to express more and more and more. And so we remember that this time, today, April 11th, in the year 2021, it is the transformation of our mind that is calling us to be renewed, to see life from a new vantage point, to awaken our senses to our spiritual truths, and then to know and to remember that we know that Source has always, always, always been our silent partner. And so, today is the day that we get to discover in a new way the power that is within you, the power that is within me. Ernest Holmes defines power as the energy by which every single thing lives. The creative medium of spirit is the great mental law of the universe, the universal law of mind. Power we have within us for evolution, both consciously and naturally. Ram Dass tells us this about power, that the most exquisite paradox regarding power is as soon as you give it all up, you can have it all. I'm going to read that again. As soon as you give it all up, you can have it all as long as you want power. You can't have it. The minute you don't want it, you'll have more than you ever dreamed possible. Let's hear that again. The most exquisite paradox. As soon as you give it all up, you can have it all. As long as you want power, you can't have it. The minute you don't want power, you'll have more than you ever dreamed possible. Why is that? Because it's not something that we need to want. It's something that already exists within us as a quality of the divine, as the power of the force of life. I love this acronym that I've created for power, which is personifying our wholeness enhances our reality. Meaning that as you and I surrender to the power that exists within us, and then when we let it out, we do so by honoring that stamp of individuality that Spirit has placed upon us, we enhance the world itself because we're choosing to live from a place of authenticity, of individuality, of wholeness, of truth. Ernest Holmes talks to us about power and tells us this. When we realize that all the spiritual power there is at our disposal, and that no matter how limited a viewpoint we may have had yesterday, with the limitations that follow that viewpoint, today we can increase our field of inward awareness. Then we make possible a greater influx of the divine through the human, and that is done through our thinking, through our receptivity of mind. And so today I want to remind us to be clear and to let new things spark within us regarding the journey of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And to remember that indeed we are on a journey of renewal and restoration. And to remember, as Emma Chase, the author, tells us, because the greatest part of a road trip isn't arriving at your destination, it's the wild stuff that happens along the way. And so let's you and I commit today that as we re-engage through the renewal of our mind and awakening from the sleep and slumber of how we know ourselves to be spiritually, that we choose to not do it from some pious place, that we choose to not do it from some place of forgetting who we are, but we do it from engaging the journey of life and appreciating and enjoying the bumps along the way, because that's all part of the journey. Remember, the greatest part of a road trip isn't arriving at your destination. It's all the wild stuff that happens along the way. So let's you and I call in that wild stuff and remember that we're here to live our best life. And to remember, just as Auntie Mame tells us, to live, 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 that life is a banquet and most poor suckers are starving to death. Today is the day that you and I get to choose to be a conscious consumer of the actions of renewing our mind and living our life to the fullest, and to plant seeds of the intentions of being at that banquet, glorious, magnificent, divine, infectious from a healthy way, full of life, letting our God out to play. For today is the day, and so it is. Thank you. So it's my pleasure to bring Arnae back to our service this morning to guide us through music into the next expression of who we are as a community. Arnae?
Wow, the graphics, the message. Love it, love it, love
Thank
it.
you.
Oh,
Thank
good
you.
morning again, all. And this is a reminder. This is a song that a lot of you probably know. One of my favorites from Burt Bacharach. Feel free to sing along on mute, unless you can sound as good as me. Everyone, take a breath. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Oh, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and moonbeams enough to cross, enough to last. Oh, till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Oh, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. So listen up, listen up. If you wanna know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Oh, it's the only thing, hey, that there's just too little love. Everybody, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Oh, no, not just for some, but for everybody and everyone. That means you. The world needs love. Give yourself love. Be the love that you need, be the love that you need. Cause the whole world needs love. This world, this world needs love. The whole world needs love. More love, more love, more love, more love. What we need. Oh, the world needs love. This world, you need, I need, we need. The whole world needs love. More love, more love, more love, more love. Everybody, everybody, everybody needs love. This world needs love. This world needs love. The whole world needs love. That means you and me. More love, 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 more love. More love, more love.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Well, the world is getting more love just simply by your singing it and all of us singing along. It's that ripple effect that's putting it out there. It was placed in the chat window that it says what the world needs more of is more Arnae. So, yes. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And I can tell you are definitely enjoying your new toys, your electronic toys, and we all get to benefit from that. So thank you. It's always such a joy to have you here, being such a vital piece of the mosaic of the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Thank you.
My pleasure, my
Yeah, I
pleasure.
love you. Love you, love you, love you. What a wonderful service we've had so far this morning. And the energy of renewal that is taking place just among our team is certainly manifesting itself out into the service, the time that we're spending together in community for each and every one of you, so that you all get to feel that and then propagate that back out into the world. And so thank you for being here today in whatever method that you're joining us through the world of technology. Also know that a big thank you just for bringing your light into this field. As we know in metaphysics, we're not bound by the physical world, that energy is transcendent of the physicality. And so let's remember that as we move along this week and continue to propagate the love that not only does the world need, but that we have the delightful opportunity to give. Speaking of giving, now is the time in our service to for us to come together and to support our organization, our community known as the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, in conscious giving, that act of supporting us through the act of giving of your financial good, knowing that it's not done out of obligation, but out of an understanding that the laws of the universe are respond to the way that we engage in them, and that we live in a prosperous, abundant universe. And so that which we give returns to us multiplied abundantly. And so the options of doing that are on the screen. You can go to our website, csl-la.org, and click on donate. Or you can go to the app in the App Store. Our app in the App Store is Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Click on the upper left bars and the screen will come up and you can see the donate tab, or you can mail in a check. Our physical address is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038. Or if you'd like for that to be taken care of privately, you can call me with the way that you'd like to handle that. Once again, all this information is on our website. It's all in our weekly e-newsletter that goes out during the first part of the week. All of that information can be accessed on our website as well as in our app. And so as we all take a moment and participate through the act of giving, Yaron will take us through our conscious giving song, which continues the theme of love, which is Love is My Decision. Yaron?
Love is my decision. it's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision, yeah, my decision right here, right now.
So I affirm for each of us that through the act of conscious giving, we remember who we are as a divine being, that the answer to the question of who am I really continues to make itself known to each of us, remembering that we are not limited by nature. And so any limitation that we experience in life is a result of an ideology, a belief that we've imposed upon ourselves. And so we release them right now and consciously step into the flow of good, letting love be our decision, allowing spirit to give more of itself to itself, through itself, as itself, which is you and me, knowing that as we extend with an open hand and an open heart, it does indeed return to us multiplied abundantly, because that is the way life works, as we say together, and so it is. I want to give you an update on some things that are taking place here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We continue our Wednesday morning meditations that take place at 8:30 a.m. online on Zoom. All of that information can be on our website and our newsletter or our app, as spoken of previously. It's a 15 to 25 to 30 minute meditation. It varies, but it's a wonderful time to come together on Wednesday morning, 30 Pacific time, and anchor ourselves into spiritual truth and to let spirit speak to us and through us with the way that it does thing. And so that this gives us an opportunity to open up to that, as well as those are then put into a library, if you will, on Facebook, on our Facebook page. All that information can also be found on our website. So please avail yourself of not only the Wednesday morning opportunity for that. You don't have to do your hair and come all pretty. You can keep your camera off, but avail yourself to this wonderful Wednesday morning meditation, or at a later date through our various platforms that you can access that. The second in my 8-class series called The Journey of Awakening takes place this Wednesday night. Last Wednesday night was just a fantastic class filled with lots of information of understanding at a deeper level of who we are as a divine being, and how we can train our minds to look at things from many different perspectives, with the objective being to awaken ourselves to the wholeness and the oneness of life itself. We are on this journey of class going to look at different spiritual practices of meditation and some spiritual mind treatment, creating habits of ritual. So know that there's a lot taking place there. So you will not have had to have taken any previous classes, but if you have taken classes, and I mean any prior to this series, feel free to pop in and join. You can take them on a standalone basis or the entire class series. I encourage you and I invite you to come be a part of these classes. They're just very rich in every element and facet of who they are, and they're interactive and fun and wonderful. If you'd like more information about that, feel free to reach out to me or one of our board members, and to let you know, we also have scholarships available. That's Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. So I wanted you to know that. I'd like to issue a big thank you to those of you that were here today joining us in this wonderful Sunday celebration of renewal and restoration and becoming refreshed on this journey. I'd also like to say thank you to Travis Smith, who was honored this morning by Arnae for the work that he did in helping her get all of her technology in place for music, as well as supporting the rest of us. Travis, you rock, buddy. And so thank you, thank you. A big thank you to Robert Hensley, who is always in the background doing all of his wondrous, magical components of getting us set up through social media, all of our social media promotions that take place, as well as keeping us live on Facebook, and then all the administrative stuff as well. Thank you to Robert Hensley. On that note, if you haven't followed us on social media, please make sure to follow us through Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube. Also, a huge thank you to Yaron Spiwak this morning, who came as our music director, came refreshed and restored, bringing new music to us and a new attitude. So thank you, Yaron, for that, and then the work that you do in booking our talent. And then a huge thank you for the blessing in life that's known as Arnae Batson. Arnae, thank you for all that you bring, and what a joy and a pleasure. I look forward to sharing more and more and more of that with you. Just a reminder of some things that take place during the week. I've mentioned the newsletter already. I'd love, if you're not receiving that, please feel free to do so. I now send out what's called a new thought for the day, a text that goes out every morning at 7:30. It's a small little snippet to pop up on your phone to give you inspiration for the day. Hope that you're receiving those and enjoying those. And if there's anyone in your world that you would like to have received those, ask them for their permission first. But feel free to send to me their name and their mobile number, and we will add them to the list. I want to remind you that we have practitioners that are available that are licensed and trained to work with any of you on your journey of healing and revealing your divinity. That information, once again, can all be found on our website and on in the App Store. And so, as we close today, we're going to close with a meditation. And following that meditation, we will say goodbye to those of you that have joined us on Facebook, and a big thank you for doing that. And then we will allow all of us here on Zoom to turn your cameras on and just do a quick little check-in and hello, and get to look into each other's eyes, and remember that's the window to the soul, and then bid our adieu for the day and go out and drink some Vita Mita Vegemin. Haha, for brunch. All right, here we go. Let's do a meditation. Just becoming aware of our breath as we inhale and exhale. And so I affirm for each of us that today is the day that we awaken from slumber, a slumber of old ideas, old patterns, old beliefs. And as we awaken, we send those collectively out into the creative ethers of the universe. And we plant seeds of a new existence, of an awareness within us, of our Christ-like nature. And so as we continue to navigate the journey, our journey, of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, we choose to co-create beauty around us, through us, within us, and from us. As we do the same with peace and power, and joy and light, and life and love and wisdom. And this act of conscious co-creation is the salve, is the liniment, is the component of energy that nurtures and restores ourselves. And so we move forward, remembering the two important words of I am and the most important words, those that follow. So we remember I am compassion. I am love. I am peace. I am free. And then we let it be. As we say together, and so it is. Amen.